Hey folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they have just, I mean, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Glamorized and embraced by Hollywood, feared in the underworld, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was one of the most powerful men in America. He was also one of the most hated. The man who gave birth to Las Vegas was gunned down in the luxurious home of his glamorous lover. Almost 80 years later, his murder remains unsolved. Who killed Bugsy?
Comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Brave but Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now, right this moment, out of all the things we're going to be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
Hey, everybody. I'll be Daft the Hat. It's me, Mr. Clingman. Mr. Clingman, yes, indeed, that's me, Wayne Clingman. But Mr. Big, here again with another show. Interesting show. This is going to be an Ask Me Anything sort of show. But first, we have a couple of announcements. On Thursdays, we'll be doing a show called Science Fiction Saturday Night. Yes, we can do Science Fiction Saturday Night, talking about old school sci-fi shows like Invaders, the UFO show called UFO Show out of England. All kinds of really cool science fiction TV shows, science fiction films, mostly before 1980. A lot of TV shows, too, things we'll be talking about. A lot of interesting shows out there. One of the also things we'll be talking about is old school computer technology, something I am big into because back in the day, I used to sell Amiga computers. It was the right thing to have a memory. The Amiga 1000 came out with 1 megabyte memory with it, which was huge at the time. Absolutely huge. The things we could do with it, right? The things we could do with it. Then the video toaster came out, which really opened up graphics in Hollywood for television, more than movies, but television movies, right? Then one thing led to another, and we have where we are today. But many people forget technology. Yes. Thursday morning be Sci-Fi Saturday Night, or correct. Well, interesting idea what they could do with technology. And then that technology out. And that's many schools still use the old Amiga toasters to do audio-visual production. I mean, there's really cool stuff they can do now. Still, it's like they still can do now. Especially the Old Texas Instrument TI-99. And the guest I would have for that will blow your mind. He's probably one of the most unique people I've met in my life. I met him because of a podcast that talks about his troubles that he had back in the day. And he's here out in society again. I met him on Twitter. I've had him on my show I do, my own live stream, a couple times. I'd like to have him on some more one of these. Talk about the cool TI-99. Absolutely fascinating. And of course, a lot of these shows, like the old Jules Verne science fiction books, can have political meaning today. Be it Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, Lovecraft. They all can speak not only to what's going on back in the day when those works were done, but what it might be talking about and why it might be relevant here. Because most of them are. Most of them are very, very relevant. Things we seem don't change much. We don't seem to learn from history. We don't seem to understand that when you screw with the nature kind of bites back. That when you do too many crazy things, Mother Nature gets pissed off and can and will bite back. And these are things that we need to be aware of. I mean, it's a science fiction oldie movie by any means, but the one called Splice, where people develop a being in a laboratory that goes on to do not necessarily horrific things. Horrific things happen to them because they invent this creature. It's wildly crazy. That's really interesting questions, too, in the course of the film. You can watch these films as pure entertainment. You watch these films as the message they might be sending out or getting you to think about. Myself, I like films that make me think. I like films that can also entertain me. Like the movie Terminal Man is an entertaining film. It also asks the musical question, should we use the computer technology to manipulate people's behavior? What could that do, right? What could that do? What could go wrong? Same thing with the Anonymous Stream. This is a book with the same author, where in the United States Air Force, a satellite's going up in space looking for things that they can turn into biological weapons, and they bring something back that's not biological weapon per se, but it has that effect of killing people, a lot of people. And the question the book asks there is, when do we know better than to do this stupid shit, right? But we seem not to. We seem to want to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now, mind you, some of these ask questions that should be not been brought up because the wrong people take a step of them, like COVID. When did the COVID fear legitimate people didn't know what was going on? And when was it used for political manipulation? Was it ever used for political manipulations? Why can't we talk about it, right? These are questions we should be asking. The science fiction books, the science fiction films, I also ask these questions, which is this. When is it okay to ask these questions? When is it okay for us members of the public to find out what's going on? I want to know what's going on. The X-Files is kind of late into the situation, right? Because it's more modern there, but they use a lot of asking questions. And so does a TV show we all know called The Simpsons, right? Well, The Simpsons, in no way, is a science fiction show, but yet it does ask some really interesting questions about modern society, some really interesting questions about technology in today's world and what we should be doing with it. I think these things are fascinating, and I'm looking forward to bringing you these things in Saturday night show, Sci-Fi Saturday Night. Oh, t-shirts. I like this one so much. I'm going to do t-shirts. I'm going to do a banner because I like the idea of Sci-Fi Saturday Night so much. I mean, I remember as a child staying up late at night to see what science fiction film would be on late at night for a scary show, right? I remember going to the library with my dad and my mom to get the latest books of science fiction. And something I did not know, the state of Wisconsin has a long history of science fiction magazines, mostly. We also have a long history in UFOs. Yes, do we ever? The state of Wisconsin, who knew? Who knew? I didn't. I didn't recently. I didn't know until this year the state of Wisconsin was a leader. Oh, yeah, that's true. And we're kind of asking those questions is insane. Interesting point because sometimes they can get that way. I know a good person on Facebook will start off as I first met them as a person asking interesting questions, right? I'm all for that. I know this individual sees a conspiracy everywhere, and everything is a conspiracy. And she's discovered all kinds of different things. I'm thinking, wait a second, if you discovered all these things that no one wanted you to know about, that endangers the powers that be, wouldn't you be disposed of? That's what I'm thinking, right? I mean, there's also questions that go on. I mean, because why is it? No, the X-Files did an okay job talking about Operation Paperclip, which was an operation after the Civil War, where the United States government brought Nazi scientists into the United States to continue the experiments, mostly Iraqi research. Same time, that time, we did a little bit of work, not as much as we should have by any means. We did a little bit of work making sure, but Christopher Brown is right. It should be asking me why, when you ask the question, why don't they? What is it that you expose? There's a difference between exposing something because of the top secret military, whatever it might be. God only knows what coalition it might be, that, right? Or a carrier might be going to, might be a question. But that's if they don't want the enemy to know, right? I get that, right? Or what are the different locations of different aircraft that we might have, or the operation capabilities of certain aircraft that we have. I can understand those could be considered top secrets. I get that, right? But asking, what in the hell are those lights? Why are those lights around aircraft carriers? Why are we talking about them now the way that we do? Now, when they were around in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, we laughed at them. Why are we now? Why is Congress now pretending to look into it? It's fascinating questions. There's a guy named Jack Keel. There's a guy named Jack Keel that answers those questions. And it's two good books, The Mothman Prophecies and Haunted Planet. Haunted Planet. Hey, Doc. Hey, Mr. 57. As you know, it's hard for me to read questions and keep talking. So give the train of thought, bring it up because it will happen. I do appreciate the interaction. I do. So I have to go back to what we're talking about. So why were we laughing at people for seeing UFOs in the 40s and 50s and 60s, right? And now we're taking it so seriously, there were congressional hearings about them. But are we really having those hearings? You know, I mean, it's fascinating. We're told by reliable people who supposedly been underneath the ground in Nevada and other places in the United States, see aliens, this huge complexes, in operational form, all over UFO technology, all over. But the same people that said those things in the 40s were laughed at. Why? What's differently now than then? I don't know. I have my own suspicions. And I suspect it's all been manipulated. I expect my opinion. Oh, Mr. Brown's talking about high jump and the Antarctica. What was going on there? And that's the whole thing within the UFO community. It speaks highly to God. I'm going to have so much fun writing UFO mysteries. Because the whole scenario, Antarctica, they're huge bases full of Nazis with secret UFO technology. Supposedly Lovecraft found out secretly that there's aliens there too, right? Supposedly the ice sheets there are melting as well, and God knows what's going to be devolved, right? Again, what's really going on? Is anything going on at all? Or is it nothing more than a good story, right? And there's nothing wrong with a good story. I like a good story. In UFO mystery, so far, it was only going to be a situation going on in Wisconsin with a guy giving pancakes to aliens, something close to my home here, and Dundee with the UFO events going on, and talking about the Schaefer mysteries which took place in Wisconsin, right? But so much more to talk into, so much more talking about UFOs when it comes to state of Wisconsin is absolutely huge. I did not see anything about the filament glitching during the eclipse, Mr. 57. Whose name I can't pronounce, those things I can't read it. Other people like, it might have been rain else, forgive me. I've had a cold. So there's all kinds of things to talking about. Yes, starting next week, we'll be talking about that. Absolutely, it's way more than 3. But to the tease, my favorite 3, Virginia Hill. Virginia Hill, she was beaten by Bugsy a lot. She was beaten by other masters throughout her lifetime. And by the time of Bugsy's death, right? By the time of his death, I'm sorry. The time of Bugsy's death, she was pretty much fed up about being beaten up a lot. She tried to commit suicide at least once under his watch. But yes, he went out of his way to make sure she survived, mostly because she continued to be a mall and continued to be a money mule, right? But she would be one on my list. Billy Wilkinson would be another one on my list. Bugsy stole his Casino the Flamingo offer under him, made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Mr. Wilkinson lost probably millions of dollars in that deal, even though Bugsy gave him some money. Gave him some money to make up for it, right? It wasn't the amount of money that he probably should have gotten, and Mr. Wilkinson was pretty pissed off. So Wilkinson did go to Paris. There's also something called telephones. There's also something called the mafia in Paris, a big, strong mafia. He's easily went through that mafia in Paris, especially the family that were running Marseille, right? Marseille, to go and make a deal to get Bugsy taken care of, right? Virginia Hill had a brother who did not appreciate her being beaten up a lot. And he was a trained Marine sniper. And he could have said, okay, Bugsy, she's out of town. I'm taking care of you, right? I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on and on and on. I think we got 6 people easily could have killed him. I'm sorry. We'll never know who pulled the trigger, right? Who ordered it, we'll probably never know either, right? But the thing was only the mafia, as in Marlansky or Lucky Luciano, because money was missing, is far, far, far from the whole 9 yards. A lot of people really, really wanted Bugsy dead. And it goes back to Mickey Cohen and the gambling ships. I mean, Bugsy Siegel came to LA. He did stuff in Hollywood. He was a pimp, an evil person, evil, vicious person, right? He also manipulated his way into gaining control of some of the gambling ships, and other people didn't appreciate it, include other mafia people in Los Angeles. This is Mickey Cohen, right? People call the LA Mafia the Mickey Mouse Mafia because they weren't known for being vicious. Again, Hollywood myth. Hollywood myth. You don't get to be part of the mafia. You don't get to control rackets. You don't get to control the amount of drugs that Hollywood was consuming, control the rackets going on in the Hollywood studios. If you were vicious people enough to take care of what you wanted, make sure it was yours. And they could do that. They too wanted Bugsy dead. I think the only people that didn't want Bugsy dead was maybe my cats who weren't alive then. You know, I mean, but Bugsy Siegel is probably the only person I can think of off the top of my head who would be stupid enough to openly threaten people's life with firearms, and those people having the ability to fight back, right? That's really stupid. He did that at least twice. And both these people are on my list of people who could easily want him dead enough to go and make sure that happened. Right? This is a tip of the iceberg with the Bugsy documentary that will kick off that fundraising again in June, and going into between now and that day. On Mondays for Conspiracies, we'll be talking about the Skim. I read a book about the Skim. We're writing an updated version of that book as well that talks more in detail about the Skim, because the Skim is far, far, far more than people realize. Yes, Casino's a good movie. Yes, the book that Casino's based on is a good book. I highly recommend them both. But there's far, far, far more going on in the Skim that movie or book could teach you. Well, thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody out here. I have no idea what the filmic glitching you made from it. All right. Other things going on. I don't know, it's about this thing. I'll talk about the article. Interesting thing too is the Nazis supposedly had UFO technology. It's supposed to have had a time machine. Now, this is me. If I had UFO technology and these B-17s were bombing the shit out of my cities, I think I would use my UFO technology to maybe shoot some of them down. Now, that's me. If I had a time machine, right, and I knew what was going on, I knew what led me to this point, wouldn't I be tempted to use my time machine to go back in time and change history? Wouldn't it be really convenient to use my time machine to go back to, say, 1930s and kill Stalin? Or better yet, knowing that Stalin was going to attack Finland, when he was going to attack Finland, to make sure that the Finns had more modern weapons, that at least the Finns could have fought more, maybe convince the Japanese to attack Russia. It's just some of the things that I can identify in a time machine, right? But again, it's a really popular idea. Sit there and say, oh, the Nazis had a time machine, all the Nazis had UFOs. Well, that probably wasn't the case. Though they did have interesting experimental weapons, they had mine-portable anti-aircraft heat-seeking missiles that they were working on. They were working on huge cannons that could shoot a projectile from around the Paris area to London. When wartime developed, they've been able to shoot these projectiles to eastern coast of the United States. The same technology would be used, modified, sold to Iraq during Saddam Hussein's time in Iraq. And the guy developing that cannon system would be assassinated by Israeli intelligence agents because they knew what he was working on. They did not want him to develop this weapon, so they had him killed. Mind you, this is part of the crimes and conspiracy stuff. It's also in the realm of science fiction, only because of all the technologies and stuff that the Nazis were working on. We see those in somewhat it's science fiction movies and the X-File TV shows and the like. I mean, interesting stuff going on. Interesting stuff. Now, I would appreciate it if you like this show. And I know I'm not the best speaker in the world. I know this and stuff like that. I get that. But in the show, especially the Thursday show, I'm running in the lower third a book that I need people to buy if you like this show. This is my job. This is my judge to see if these shows. I don't expect it'd be nice, but I don't expect everybody here to buy a book each week. I don't expect that. I do expect to sell a few books, right? I do expect. Is if I'm effective in doing these shows, getting you to know more about the mafia, getting you to know more about science fiction, I want you to be so motivated by that you're interested in buying my book or helping me do the other things that I'll be doing, right? That's the only way I can judge it if those products sell or people contribute to the Bugsy documentary or the UFO situation that we might be developing, right? I mean, this is how you can find out if it works or not, right? If you could support the show, I think that perhaps add a banner up or something where you can go donate to ways that's going on for GoFundMe, or if not, you'll probably pop it up if I ask him to, so people who watch the show can donate to the GoFundMe when you're trying to build a Roku. And that's some of the technology we were talking about. The Roku thing is cool. The Roku thing is absolutely fantastic. Cable TV racks out like there's no tomorrow. But there's so much more that we could be doing with the bandwidth with television, the bandwidth with telephones, the bandwidth with cable TV is absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild how technology, how education programming, how different types of programming can be utilized and be transmitted from one point to another, far beyond what we have now. And this stuff that was all being done in the 60s and the 70s went away. It can come back, easily come back. I mean, to think that we have the capability with a TI computer, the old TI 99s, right? The old Amiga 1000s, those toasters, those style Apples back in the day, even, right? There's all kinds of cool things, right? All kinds of cool things. To think that we can use a TI, I had my own home in my own time, I could build a radio telescope, right? Use a TI computer, use a Amiga, use what I have on my desk now to aim it at stars, right? To record radio frequencies coming in, right? I think that's cool. Am I going to hear the equivalent of FM TAP 100 hits from some planet out in space? No, because we get to hear the radio frequencies transmitted by quasars and other celestial objects, right? It's so cool to see how that stuff works, right? I'm absolutely fascinated by NASA. And God, there are a lot of good science fiction programs about NASA. You got Lost in Space, you got Star Trek, Space 1999. Who didn't like Space 1999, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's all the time we have. Guys, you see what happens when I get excited and I start talking? I can talk and fill up half an hour, I can fill up an hour. So getting these questions to me helps a lot. Getting me excited really is key to get this going. I appreciate everybody out there. I appreciate Pops a lot. If they have the opportunity to donate to the GoFundMe for the Roku, we would greatly appreciate it, because Roku will give you more content to consume. The comics, the show will be there. Other shows will likely come there as well. And we're trying, Pops especially, is trying to do what it can do to promote creatives, be it comic book people, be it book people like me, be an artist like whomever, right? Let's help him do what he wants to do by helping him promote others. That's key. It's key. And especially this time and date that we're in today, when sales will be so critical. It's how we get the message out there of who we are, what we do, the price we might have for you, the consumer, to be interested in. Anyway, thank you all. I appreciate y'all. Have fun. Have a great day. And watch the skies. The great and hungry. If they show up at your door, feed them pancakes.
Mr. Chris, what up? Also, Christgau from rock and roll band Five Finger Death Punch. Heard that you're about to launch your newest board game, Gods of Metal, where you take on the persona of different metal musicians to stop the overlords and their demons from taking over reality. I think I know a metal musician that can help you fight those overlords and those demons. That is me, Christgau. So, shout out to you, Chris. Shout out to all of the Laughing Rogue crew. And shout out to Gods of Metal. I will be in there taking over reality from the demons and the overlords. Christgau. Just like it says there on my hat, in case I forget. I do play bass.
An ancient darkness is breaking through into our reality. The overlords are coming. They're demons united. They'll stop at nothing to tear our world to shreds. And the only thing that can stop them is the power of metal. You have been chosen by the gods of metal to lead this crusade of finger-shredding fury. You must write the sick riffs, craft the awesome lyrics, find unholy rhythms, and set the heads banging. Show the overlords that their darkness is nothing compared to yours. Gods of Metal is a co-op deck-building game for 1 to 4 players. You and your bandmates must work to create the most powerful band in human history. Find mystical instruments of legend, outlandish costumes to improve your powers, and recruit mascots to help you battle the overlords. Find the power of pure decibels and use them to destroy your enemies by crafting songs that will literally blow their minds. Form a band. Save the world. Gods of Metal. Now on Kickstarter.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
Just back it already.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands are
Have a good night.